Yeah, it's definitely colder today. Bloody hell. Hier ist Stuttgart. Chilly, chilly. Hopefully this heater will help warm me up a bit. Oh my god, why? Fucking with the yawning. Ugh. Why does this always have to, like, be an issue? Oh my god. Jeez. Jeez Louise. Can this yawning, like, not happen right now? My lord. Whoopie. What you doing? What you doing, puppy? What you doing, boy? Give a doggo. Ah. Holy strombolis. This brain needs to activate itself. I didn't even, like, walk for the last bit of my hours. I took the fucking bus so I can minimize energy use. Or is this, like, the coffee coming down on me now that I had earlier? Well, that's probably it. It's probably the coffee breakdown. Just like, nope, now you're having a crash. Coffee crash. There we go. There we go. Fucking, like, heater was not wanting that to, like, fucking go. Jeez. Just in the show, I was looking for the only man who can help me answer the ultimate question. What is that question? Was this man's accent? Alright, hold on. I just realized I still had that going on. Yeah.
There's an enzyme in there called papain. Okay, and papain is
Papain?
super good anti-constipation. Look what's inside.
Oh man, that looks good.
Ooh, that looks cool, right? Okay, these are strawberry papayas. You can see they are a little bit red, right?
I mean, I don't know what this dude's accent is.
Right? So let's try it now. I'm just gonna bite in. Oh my god. These papayas are fantastic. Sweet, and it is
Fantastic. I mean, I don't know what his accent is. Like, it almost sounds like Swedish. And yeah, it also sounds like it's imitating someone from India. If he's Indian, I don't know. I just sure shit went out. Oh man, I am definitely unsure of where that, you know, the accent, and maybe it's just like a multi-accent thing. Maybe it's just like developed, you know, different accents from other accents he's heard of, you know, in the past and shit. Like one of those things. If I had to guess, I have really no fucking idea. Him and Tommy was so fall into the can't price the nationality category. Yeah, I mean, for real. It's like you can kind of take a guess, but it's kind of ambiguous. Yeah, Paul's streaming. What's Paul up to? What are you doing, Paul? I guess he's
a terrible trade deal.
He's looking like a Gandalf.
Weird medication dreams for sure.
Weird medication dreams. I've gotten like weird dreams when I don't smoke weed for a while.
New York City, I mean, I don't know. It was just like a big metropolitan area with a bunch of like, we were running around like down alleys and fire escapes.
Dude, I've had dreams kind of like that. I never remembered those type of dreams, but I just always remember, like, we're always going, like, some dreams have a narrative where I'm, like, either chasing or being chased, and it's, like, through alleys, like, fire escapes, random shit like that, or, like, war-torn city areas, shit like that. But there's never really, like, anything else to the narrative, at least I remember. I feel like it's always more of like a cat and mouse thing. It's like chasing, but also being chased at the same time. I dreamed I was someone else named Matt or Max and I had a fucking Power Ranger watch. Whoa, you were a fucking Power Ranger? That's pretty dope.
Mysteries to solve. And you could follow the threads if you wanted or not. I remember there was this weird, like, adults-only district where there's, like, a porn store.
Oh, hell yeah.
And a bar. The bar was called Your Hat Is Not Silly Enough.
Your hat's not silly enough?
To drink at the bar, you had to wear a stupid hat.
Not really. I don't think it got to work, but I felt like it could. So it never worked? Damn, you just had it. It never really worked. Damn. That sucks.
Clapping hats that you squeeze the thing and it claps. The beer hats. And then there was like this, this store for like memorabilia for video, like not video games, like horror.
There should honestly be a premise for a bar.
Really
like the only way to really get a drink is that you wear a very absurd ass hat. Like the price, like basically the admission to go to the bar is have just a ridiculous hat of some sort, or just a really unique looking hat. You get like a unique hat discount or something.
It's coherent green. I mean, kinda. It was weird, like you'd be walking around and you could find these like secret doors. They would lead you to different like stores that sold weird shit. There was like a video arcade, but it didn't have any like real arcade games in it. It was all these weird like turn of the century games.
That kind of sucks.
Like Steam-powered games. I don't know.
Steam-powered?
Not
Like
Steam, the game service, like actual
like
Steam.
steampunk?
Like Steam engines.
What the fuck?
Really, I honestly couldn't tell you what the fuck is going on in my head.
Whoa. I'm interested in a video game ran by Steam Power.
Come on, do it.
Bruh.
Your hat is not silky enough. It's like, it just makes you think, like, where does this shit come from? You know? Dreams have always been that way for me.
Don't scientists, like, to this day, like, don't know why dreams are a thing? Like, they understand that the brain does have them for what they speculate different reasons, but there's no real, like, true cohesive reason why they happen. They just kind of do. I think they speculate that it's basically a way to kind of, like, recycle information that we take in our day-to-day life, you know, and at least kind of, like, reuse it. And, like, from my understanding, it's also kind of like a collection of memories that just kind of get mushed together into, like, something for the brain to stay active while it's sleeping. I've heard different theories about it, and I don't think anyone truly knows why they actually happen. We just know that we do.
I mean, some
It's weird, but cool.
Recently, I just told you too, they take the taco. Sometimes I'll go on tears too, where I'll dream about certain things over and over again. I'll have werewolf dreams every night. That was like a year or so ago. I was having like this string of werewolf dreams. I was a werewolf, or running from a werewolf.
Dude, if I was a werewolf, that'd be awesome.
Who knows?
That'd be a cool as fuck type of dream. I want to be a werewolf.
Who knows what the fuck is going on?
Dreams are just alternate self-experiences, which is bad news for people with incest dreams, or good, depending on who we're talking about. Well, I mean, even if that's the case, then, like, won't we have more of a cohesive knowledge of our alternate self-experiences?
Oh, no, dude. I remember in that Trump dream that I had last night, I was like...
Wait, he had a Trump dream?
Oh, I remember at some point, too, that TJ was doing a stream, and I was, like, tuned in to it with Trump.
What?
Watching it on Trump's phone or something.
Trump was watching TJ's stream?
Yeah, I don't think Paul is guilty. But it looks like he's going to be executed anyway. Oh, shit.
Oh, shit!
He was like, you know, nothing we can do. Paul's going to be executed.
Paul's going to be executed, guys. Nothing we can do about it.
No way.
Shit. He's watching this on
No
Trump.
way. Help me, Trump. Help me.
Oh, God. Dude, that would be a wild dream. Oh, my Lord.
They're just going to execute me, dude.
Paul got too radical.
No trial, no nothing. They're just going to catch me and put me down like a rabid dog.
Damn, bro. Paul was just too extreme for, you know, the status quo, and they had to take him out.
Hunted I am.
Damn, bro. Rip. Poor Paul. Rest in pepperoni's palm.
When we finally kiss goodnight.
I do remember, like, there was, like, this one dream that I had that was, like, somewhat tangential, where it was, like, I was being, like, the dream kind of already started with a narrative. I was, like, working with, like, some sort of partisan group, and, like, the world was already kind of, or at least the country was, like, fractured or something. It was already implied shit was fucked. And we were, like, in the woods, in, like, the mountains or some shit. Fucking, like, literally, like, on the side of these, like, mountain ridges. Fucking, like, you know, trying to, like, run away from, like, I don't even know who specifically. It could have been, like, other fucking, like, you know, paramilitaries. I don't fucking know. It was just, like, some weird dream shit. Like, it was just silhouettes way down, like, below the ridge line, like, on the paths, you know, below us as we're, you know, running up the hill, up the mountains and shit. I was just like, what the fuck? Taking a couple little, like, pop-pops back and forth and shit. It was just, like, weird. Like, I get those ones every now and then, too. Where it's, like, I'm out in, like, the mountains or the forest or some shit and fucking, like, you know, like, have some camp set up or some shit. I've had most mundane dreams involving DFF crew. The first was TJ Scotty I saw him at Kroger. Paul's probably like a dream of me getting groceries of him in Walmart. Damn. At least from what I understand, I don't think I remember if I've had any dreams of any of them. Maybe I have and I just don't remember off the top of my head. At least not that I can think of.
Yeah, those Adam Curtis documentaries really will fuck you up if you've got, like, a genuine notion about political history. It really will put you up on game that, like, you don't really know what you think you know.
Yeah, Adam Curtis has got some good docs.
And what you think you know is usually wrong.
I really like his Prohibition documentary series, too.
Been hitting the gym? Cool, John. Good for you. Getting those workouts in. Getting sunlight or exercise. You get more sunlight than I get to exercise, you know.
Hey, sweet boy. You want that harness off? You probably don't need that on anymore. Come here.
I'm actually rereading The People's History.
That's a book I really need to get.
Falling asleep to the audiobook recently.
Me.
So I love that book. That's another one of those you know, books that'll reshape the way that you think about history.
It was a goofy book. Yeah, People's History of the United States is like a really pretty good book. It's one of those books I really need to get myself, honestly. Especially predominantly that, like, it really does kind of delve into a lot of elements about the U.S. history that is just straight never taught. There's at least a few things about it online and available that, you know, delve into it too. What are you doing? Little waggy, you little waggy, shaky little thing, you goof.
Yeah, I'd say about 6 months. Rock hard 6 months.
This dog's a goof.
I'd really have to.
Also, what the hell is Venom? Like, just cause, like, before he dipped off and finished my errands, it was just like, oh no, you know, let's do call or something. And I was like, sure. And fucking just that he never came back with me about that. So I was like, okay, well, I'll start my thing. And then just never responded back. It's like, I think he just decided to go into a nice little stupor of sleep. Which honestly is probably a good idea for him. Less bullshit to deal with that annoying weird cretin of a stepdad. I mean, that dude just really lives like the most pathetic, sad life, honestly. I mean, it's just like, you know, say which one's about Venom stuff, but like, holy fuck, his stepdad's honestly worse. By like every fucking metric. Vancouver.
Pretty recent.
He's starting to get a damn snoop. You see that the mind's first go when you get old, but in his case, it wasn't all there to begin with. I mean, really, it honestly wasn't. Considering his weird, stupid fucking routine of basically like doing the rinse, rather repeat. I coined it earlier as just like delving into the trough. Just because like that's what he does. Like he delves into the trough of vice and sin and degeneracy, and then like cleanses himself with Fox News and like gospel pastoral country shit. And then he like goes back into the trough and lathers, rinse, and repeat. I mean, he just like that's what he does. And it's like if he's not like working. And even then, it's just being some, you know, strong-arm thug for, you know, some boss man, you know, to overwatch everybody else, you know, to be, you know, make sure they're obedient underlings anyway. So, wow, what a great, you know, hard worker job he is. Wannabe cop, basically. It's like, man, that dude lives more of a fucking pathetic life and shit. And then he'll make excuses, too, to, like, call in sick just so he can go fill himself up at the trough. It's like, man, you sad bitch. It's like fucking Monday, which, frankly, I shouldn't have been working, but after I was, like, sick and shit there for a bit, like, I decided, alright, I feel good enough, you know, maybe I'll come to work at least, you know, kind of see how I am, and then just let my weekend be my weekend. And probably shouldn't have done that because I got a little sick again back on Wednesday. Probably lost a little bit of recovery and then fully recovered, you know, over this weekend, basically. Well, mostly. Still don't exactly feel 100%, but I feel good enough now to where I'm kind of back to how I was earlier. So, or at least prior to getting all fucked up. So it's just like, and even then, like, you know, I was busting my ass and shit. And I had a legitimate, like, reason to, like, stay home. Yeah. Well, the thing was, like, at least, like, stomach-wise and everything, I wasn't really feeling bad. But then it kind of came back the next day for, like, up until, like, 4 or something, and then it went away again. So, now at this point, I mean, it's just that my stomach and, like, my muscles all around there feel sore still. Because of all, like, the, you know, trying to regurgitate and shit to the point where I just wasn't even regurgitating anything at all. Like, it got that bad. It was, like, at that point, I was just like, fuck, dude, can this just stop and go away? Eventually, it did. But now I just feel sore as fuck because of it. But eventually, that'll go away on its own. I mean, I'll admit, this isn't, like, the first time it's, like, I've gotten, like, you know, a gnarly case like this, so I'm thinking I might at least go check in to see about it if there's like maybe like maybe medication to help like curb, you know, these type of problems if something like this were to happen again, because I do get like gastroesophageal like, you know, reactions or reflexes anyway, but they're never like to the point where I'm like at food poisoning. It's like literally like days on end or all day or something, right? So sometimes it'll happen for like an hour or something like that, or maybe some days I'll get like you know, because of shit like that. So I know there is medication for stuff like that, so I'm gonna see if maybe I can prescribe something like that.
There's part of me that doesn't really want
At least for like the days where I know I'm not feeling 100%.
How is this better?
Yeah, at least at this point, yeah, I definitely feel fine enough. Like, it's definitely like yesterday and today is like the only days where I feel like I feel good enough to at least have a beer or two at this point. So, and I feel okay from that, and at least scarf down fucking burritos and everything else in between. So at this point, it's just I'm just like sore and like recovery mode from actually being sick, and recovery mode from being sick. So. I feel like by the time Friday or, you know, Saturday hits, I'll be alright.
Yeah, I mean, it's not super heavy. I feel like I kind of glaze over a little bit.
What are you doing, dog? What are you doing?
Presented in such a way.
Got into territory scuffle with a cat. We hissed at each other. Yeah.
I mean, it kind
Yeah, I'm noticing there's been like a couple of like these little fucking rats been hanging out around here. Because I keep seeing them like scurry like back and forth every now and then while I'm walking by, and I'm just like, you fuckers. I need to like get something to where I can like get like some like long, lengthy little spear thing and just kind of like, you know, sit and wait for them or something and just like shank it or some shit. Like they're starting to get. I need to like, you know, like, cause this little damn bastard ain't gonna do shit. This dog ain't gonna do nothing. Rats are friends. Not when they're like, you know, like not around here. Like, I mean, they tend to spread the fleas and different, you know, like, parasitical things and stuff like that. Like, I don't like that. I'm far more okay with squirrels and chipmunks and teach them to cook. Eat one can. So that's a Venom who will literally eat camel testicles, but rather have a hockey puck for a hamburger. I mean, come on now. I still can't get over the fact that well, granted he didn't like it, but I don't give a fuck. He still openly admitted that he ate that. And still is like a quote picky eater. It's like, bitch. It's like, evidently he likes burgers burnt. Well, he likes his meat dry and well done, so what do you think? Yeah, basically. Dry, well done, and might as well be a hockey puck, because it's like this, like, meat jerky chip. It's like, bleh. Like, no pink, no red, no juice, none of that shit. Like, not even, like, I can maybe understand well done if there's still, like, some juices and shit like that. You know, maybe, like, a little bit of red from the juice within, you know, when you kind of, like, you know, put the fork down and, like, take a bite, you know, like, a little bit of the red juice comes out, even though it's a little, well, you know, still well done. I can even grant a pass for that. But, goddamn, dude, I just don't know, man. I know, man. And I think it's just because he doesn't know real quality. He's been in Alabama too long, bro. He doesn't know what real quality is. Like, he needs to be up here, like, at the very middle. Like, he just needs to literally be anywhere else. Like, cause, holy shit, man, it's... Is it a case of stir fry? Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah. That's the real acceptable way for me.
And so they're trying desperately to come up with some way to have a predictable cycle.
Yeah, the dry meat will soak up all the sauce, but then that meat isn't dry. Because it soaks up the sauce, it thus becomes wet. Or moist again. So thus, you know, hence why it's acceptable. I mean, that's like, the only acceptable case of well done is if, like, there's a way where juice and flavor is still incorporated into the thing. If not, then you just have, like, this weird, like, it's like, I mean, because, like, when you bite into such a well done steak like that, and it's dry, like, it's chewy, and it takes forever to fucking eat the damn thing. Like, when it's nice and, like, where it almost, like, melts and it just, like, breaks down so nice when it's, like, in that medium to medium, like, rare, medium well even, you know, type of status. Like, that's good shit. That's the reason why that's, like, the pretty much predominantly the standard is at least, like, medium, you know, around there. It's like, bleh. Oh, you have steak, though. Fuck you, because steak doesn't eat it. True. I don't want to feel like I have to fight for my food as I eat it. I mean, seriously. Oh, but they will rebuke. I don't want my, you know, food, like, mooing back at me. It's like, like, which is so dumb. It's like, unless you're looking at a fucking cow and then, like, literally putting a fucking gun to its head and then carving that fucker right then and there, like, that's not happening. Rumor has it that putting A1 on steak in Japan is an executable offense. I don't put it past that. I don't put it past them. I mean, they got, like, that fucking, you know, Wagyu beef and shit, you know? Like, I mean, they like, have, you know, like, a prestigious quality standard about that shit. You don't fuck around with their, you know, with their steak. But they know what's up. They got it down, though. I'd love to have some, like, Wagyu beef, dude. Done proper, too. Like, I, like, only want to go to Japan for it. I think you can only go to Japan to get, like, actual, like, qualified Wagyu beef. You can get, like, Wagyu internationally, I suppose, but it won't necessarily be, like, the traditional sense. Or at least it's less likely to be. Same thing with Kobe beef. Like, if you get Kobe beef, it's not technically, like, Kobe beef unless... I think it's the same thing, unless it's, like, in Japan. It's kind of like champagne wine. It's like, it's not actual champagne unless it's in the province of Champagne in France and shit, but, you know, I mean, I guess technically who really gives a fuck? Well, in the steak people need alternatives. They can always have some tires or tree bark, high in fiber. I mean, that's true, there's a lot of fiber in that. Kobe beef comes with charts and shit to verify it. I mean, for real, like, dude, Kobe beef's got, like, some extra shit to verify that. And funny enough, I have it, you know, I can get some at my store right now, but, like, a part of me really doesn't think it's certified Kobe beef. What the fuck? What is Paul delving into? What the hell?
I think one of the interesting things to
Whoa. Oh my god, I really need to figure this fucking... Oh, Diaz, man, I gotta figure this out. Let's see here. God damn it. Oh, don't say it, I hope he comes soon. Aye. There we go, I hope. I'm pretty sure that's gonna fuck up at some point, but I mean, I just hope it don't. It's not your dollar a pound, so unless the kind of store, the kind of your store falls under that price range, probably not authentic. Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, that's kind of my point. Like, legitimate Kobe beef is like $100-some a pound or some shit. And Wagyu beef, I think, is even more expensive. So yeah, it's I mean, even though at my store there is, like, I think it's, like, Open Nature brand, but it says it's, like, you know, Kobe style beef, I think. I think that's how they get away with it. It says Kobe style beef. Which I think means it's not obviously Kobe beef, but it's, like, you know, I guess, like, the beef or the cows are raised like them, or so. I don't fucking know. I don't know what makes it, like, Kobe style, I mean, but I'm assuming maybe it's the fat to meat content. I don't know. I really don't know what makes it that way, but, I mean, so, yeah, steak or chicken? Like, if I had to choose between the two? Fuck. God damn it. I love both. This is the problem. It all goes to how the cows are treated. Ah, okay. Well, for steak or I mean, I guess God damn it, this is tough. I mean, because honestly, like, I suppose chicken, because it's more, like, quantity-wise accessible. And steak, though, is, I mean, god damn it, and steak good shit, though. Especially when properly seasoned. Oh, god damn. Fuck. Dude, you kind of put a tough one on me. This one's tough. Shit. Both? Can I just have both, please? Steak and chicken? Steak with a little bit of, like, you know, shredded chicken or rice, you know, as a side dish or something. You know, there you go. Boom. Yeah, there we go. Now we're cooking with gas. That's why, yeah, let's see, there we go. Now I can have best of both worlds. I feel like chicken's easier to make, it tastes good, so overall chicken. Yeah, but, well, you know, like, the thing is, you can't have chicken pink, you know, you can't, like, you know, you have to make sure it's cooked well done, though. That's, like, one of those meats where you have to do that. So, it's, I mean, if you don't know what you're doing, you can fuck up really badly. Like, steak, you can, you know, afford to have, you know, some pink and redness in there. In fact, honestly, that's preferable to have a little bit of that, at least to me. So, it's just like, I mean, see, I don't know. For me, it's tough. Goat beef farm. It's an trial. It's Wagyu cattles. Hey.
In general, this Wagyu cattle consists of 4 main breeds.
Notice how, like, you know, this barn is open, and also, like, the, quote, like, little cages they're in are actually, like, they can kind of wander around in. And they're at least somewhat exposed to the elements.
Has a fat content that is evenly distributed throughout the meat.
Damn, that looks good.
Pink and has a very tender and delicious taste.
That looks delicious.
The Japanese government has strict regulations on the production of Wagyu meat.
Yeah, look at their little pens. Yeah, they can just kind of wander around and chill.
Generally, cattle farming in Japan is divided into 2. Namely farms that specialize.
Look at me and my horn.
Cattle farms that specialize in rearing. The first thing which is done in this Wagyu cattle.
I'm noticing that, like, you know, obviously it's still pretty industrialized, but they do get treated. They obviously have better treatment. Like, they have ability to kind of roam around. They can move around. You know, they're not like a totally like chowdled up and shit. Like, they have, you know, an ability to kind of like do their thing a little bit.
Selection of superior Japanese cattle through a very strict breeding system. To maintain this aims to maintain the distinctive taste of Wagyu meat.
Just hay.
The fat content and color of the Wagyu.
I mean, I'm assuming, like, I mean, there's more to it than hay, but, or I'm guessing maybe there's, like, you know, different stuff in it.
Type of beef and characteristics of
Meh.
Wagyu meat.
Look at me eat my hay. Yep, and there's some other stuff.
Wagyu meat is also influenced by the price of feed. Because indeed, cows are given food with high quality. During the fattening period, each of these Wagyu
fattening.
can consume tons of feed.
Damn, look at all that.
Japanese cattle will be harvested when they are almost 3 years old. Next, these cows are brought to the cattle auction.
Oh, so they're auctioned to be sold. Okay.
Cows will be displayed and auctioned off to a Wagyu slaughterhouse.
Well, I mean, I mean, you know, it's still, that part kind of sucks, no, but like, well, you know, they get auctioned to be sold to be slaughtered. It's like, oh, well, okay. But I thought regulations were bad. I've seen videos of Kobe cows being fed whiskey and massaged. God damn. Dude, like, some of these cows gotta get treated better than, like, some people. What the fuck? At least they get like 3 years to just kind of chill and vibe, though. I mean, because it looked like, I mean, if you look at that like big barn that they're all chilling in, I mean, there wasn't really like any walls, like, you know, so you know, it kind of also implies that they have like an ability to kind of free roam and stuff. They just kind of like, you know, have those areas, you know, set just because, well, those are, you know, the designated little pens where they sit and chill and feed them and stuff like that, but I mean, the shit just looks obviously a lot more chill and safer for not just the cows, but also for the workers too. Like, it actually looks fairly decent. Granted, it's just a video and it's probably, you know, a little, you know, colored, you know, when it comes to like this sense of like how good it looks, you know, and it's, you know, trying to put a veneer to it. But nonetheless, I mean, it just looks a lot different in comparison to a lot of like presentation videos I've seen of like American agricultural farms and shit like that. They look a lot different. A lot more brutal. Frankly, I've had some recommended to me on YouTube where it has like this, you got like a little ukulele going like, and then it got like, you know, some little like, and then you got like these chickens just being like genocidally slaughtered in like this horrible like like, not properly regulated, like, slaughter pen or some shit. It's like, oh my fucking god, what is this? And it's like, what dystopian hell did, like, some corporate fuck decide to approve of this video? Like, what the fuck? At least that video looked legitimately, like, decent. Like, cause, like, goddamn, I've seen some of those presentation videos that are just like, this kind of is traumatizing. Especially with the music. Like, fucking hell. It's not like, oh yeah, they just have like a nice, you know, free little open area where they all chill and this and that and blah blah blah, and you know, and then they kind of get auctioned off every now and then, you know, once they, you know, kind of go through their period of when they're ready to be sold and this and that, blah blah blah. It's like, nah, it's just like this massive industrialized like machine of just callous coldness, of just like death. It's like, oh god, it's like, fuck, bro. And the music's like, tiptoe through the window. I know, dude, it really is. I mean, it really is, though. I mean, it's just like, I mean, it really is, though, honestly. It just does feel like that. I mean, I don't want to, like, show one, because it's just honestly legit kind of fucked, but... I mean, honestly, most of the comments recognize it, too. Like, I would just go for the comments of those videos, and all of them would be like, what the fuck is this? Like, I'm not even a vegan, and I think this is like, what the hell, bro? Because it's just like, it really is. It's like, this is just not very poorly executed with the, like, presentation of, like, see, we're, you know, our, you know, like, factory animal farming system's not bad. Oh, well, is this really all the video we got? Well... I'll just put some, you know, fun, silly music behind it. That'll soften the blow. Like, my god. Jesus. Maybe it was made by vegans to turn meat eaters off. I would say that if the YouTube channels that made them were not from the actual, like, official, like, corporate YouTube channels that were making those fucking videos. Like, I'm not kidding you. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I would say so if, like, most of those videos I do see those are, you know, from are, you know, like, if they weren't from those official channels, but they are. Hey, what's this? Picked the wrong cow. Whoa. Whoa, dude! What the fuck? Oh my god, dude. Oh shit. What the fuck? Why? Why did it do that? This is already absurd as it is, and then it just showed, like, cow titties. Like, what the fuck, man? Ignore utters. I mean, well, what is that if not, like, the titties of a cow? I mean, that's just what they are. Udders are just like, whatever, you know what I mean. You get the point. I'm being more dramatic about it, I obviously know this. No! What? No, God! What the fuck, man? It just really had to go even worse. Dude, what is this? Oh my god, I'm not even drunk enough for... Oh my fuck. Holy crap. What is this? Why do guys have nipples? They're utterly useless. I don't... Man, I don't know. Why is this... What? God damn it. Okay, I'm not drunk or high enough for this. I'm not enough of anything. Compound entered the fist. Is this something I just need to be super stoned to watch? Because if this... I felt like if I was getting stoned halfway through the movie and this popped up, I think I'd be fine. But this is my first experience with this, and I don't even know, dude. This is a Matrix parody? Wait, this is a parody of the Matrix? Well, I guess that explains why the cow is doing whatever the fuck it's doing. Why? Oh, why? No! Stop it! What the fuck? You know what? I just realized it. This is basically the equivalent of like Epic Movie and shit like that. It's and like, you know, it's just one of those movies. It just really started dawning on me. Oh, yep, here's that Matrix parody you're talking. Oh my fucking god, dude! What the fuck? Why is there so much emphasis on these? What the fuck, man? So he literally milked the cow dry. Oh my fucking god. And that's how Kobe beef was made. For an animal, the cow fight's real good. Talk about hardcore? What the hell does that apply? What? What? Oh my god, what in the fuck, man, did I just... I could buy or rent this. What the hell? How much is it? I can either buy it for 10 bucks or rent it for 4. Oh my god. Wow, that was... something. I want to see if there's like, you know, because honestly, for some reason, that started kind of bringing up Epic Movie in my mind, and I want to see if there's like I want to see if there's actually a scene. And, really? There isn't? Oh, man, it must be one of those films where it's, like, heavily... Well, I could just straight buy it on fucking YouTube for 15, but really? Dude, that's kind of a little, like, what the fuck? That's a little what the fuck. I wouldn't, like, maybe if it was just released, but that's a movie from 2007. Like, I ain't paying fucking 15 for that shit. Kitty. Oh my goodness, that is a cute little kitty. Oh, that's so adorable. And a musician. There's actually legitimately a beat to it. I mean, there is a little bit of a beat to it, funny enough. I mean, it kind of changes. Like, at first, it goes into some rapid fire, but then it changes the BPM. Like, like, he was going fast, and then he went, like... It was like... Like, he kind of went fast at first, and then the duck went... Like, it had, like, a more of a consistent little thing going there. That's the nice thing people here on remote islands see before being sacrificed. Whoa, with that video of the duck? I'd be okay with that. Sound the drum! Guy holds duck over the drum. Boom. The duck has spoken! He shall be sacrificed! Wait, what? Just like some Aztecian fucking like level heart rip out and that shit. You just see, like, you see the duck, you know, and the last thing you hear is just like that duck, and then just like that, you see it in the background doing this little drum, you know, while you just see her just like, and then you just see the light with the duck just internally staring into you permanently. Oh wait, sorry, Mr. The duck has not spoken for him to be sacrificed, but we already did. God damn it! It's 2 quacks for a sacrifice. Yeah, it's a wah. Okay. God damn it. Oh wait, is it telling me that? Wait, I'm getting sacrificed. Oh shit, no! That's big culture to see ducks as gods. There's got to be at least something out there. What? There's got to be like some sort of like, you know, something in like, you know, Celtic, Wiccan, or fucking like some sort of European pagan thing. Maybe like, well, I guess in like, in Asia, there's like, at least in like the whole Chinese New Year thing, and like the, or not Chinese New Year, but like, you know, the Chinese like animal signs and stuff. I mean, one of them's like the years of the duck and shit. So I mean, like, there's, at least there's some cultures that has like, you know, some affinity about ducks. I don't know if they do see them as like god beings though. I'm sure there has to be at least one out there. You know what, here, I'm gonna see if I can find something. I'm just gonna simply say, is there a duck god? The Greek goddess Penelope is a duck goddess. Well, Greek, there you go. Greek mythology. Who wakes the world in spring, probably because bird eggs are associated with new beginnings. Penelope was demoted in the later mythology to a wife of Odysseus. Imaginary because imagery of the continental Celts often combines sun symbols of ducks. Yeah, so I guess even in Celtic paganism, there's a symbolism with suns and ducks as well. Oh, here's something else. In Hungarian mythology, the duck is a solar bird with special powers because they can exist in 3 elements: earth, water, and air. Thus, the duck could transcend the upper and lower worlds. In fact, according to Hungarian myths, the duck played an important role in the creation of the world. Well, that I never knew. So, you know, like, well, even then. Yeah, so there's at least different cultures, you know, that have at least some affinity, you know, or some symbolism towards ducks. In Hungarian, it seems like in Hungarian mythology, there's at least, you know, elements about it being played as a role in creation of the world, which that's fucking pretty cool. And then in Celtic mythology, it's has symbolism tied with like the sun. And then like you know, Greek mythology, it's, you know, like Penelope, the duck goddess. You can see why Sky does a stream like TJ or Paul, because only like 6 people will be allowed in chat. Not that it'd be justified. I mean, honestly though, I mean, that's why Taylor has to kind of take the reins when it's those two together, because Taylor's kind of the one who moderates the chat and kind of keeps Scotty in the reins. Well, also Scotty has to do the same thing too sometimes, because Taylor will be like, you know, fuck you, you know, the same way, you know, like, honestly, you don't want to cross her either, because she'll do the same shit. Which I think is why they compliment each other. Like, you know, every now and then they'll both be like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. They'll just go down that route and put the fucking gauntlet down. And yeah, Scotty did bring down the hammer of Paddington. Yeah, you don't fuck with Paddington, man. And I haven't even seen Paddington. I need it, like, apparently Paddington 2 is just like a must-see, and I guess I just need to see it. I haven't seen either of them. But I'm not gonna, like, talk shit, you know, like, you know, I'm not, like, against those type of movies. I've watched those movies before, so, you know, they're not my go-to, but, you know, I could appreciate them, so. Like, I just haven't really gone out of my way to see them yet. But that's it, mate. But evidently there's something to that little bastard bear, so, I don't know. I was curious about these geese gods and what I found is Geb of Egyptian mythology. I did see something about that, but I kind of figured it was something different, but... Yeah, there's a duck or goose right on the dude's head. Hieroglyphs. A duck or a foot or... You know, a dude just kind of chilling. Goose. Whoa, what's going on? What the fuck is going on here? Whoa, dude. With Geb with the head of a snake. Geb was associated with mythological divine creator Goose, who had laid the world egg from which the sun and the world has sprung. The theory assumed to be incorrect and resulted in confusing the divine name Geb with that of a white-fronted goose, also originally called Lame One or Stumbler. This bird sign is only used as a phonogram in order to spell the name of the god. An alternative ancient name for this goose species was Terp, meaning similarly walk like a drunk, stumbler. The white-fronted goose is never found as a cultic symbol or holy bird of Geb. Mythological creator Goose, referred to above, was called Ngwer, Great Honker, and always depicted as an owl goose, fox goose, or Egyptian goose, who ornithologically belongs in a separate genus, and whose Egyptian name was okay. Huh. Which I guess it's referring to this. Oh, well, dude, look at this little bastard. Look at this dude. Look at this guy. Well, look at this dude. Look at, damn. Fucking flexing, dude. Look at this guy. It looks like a hell goose or something, dude. Eyes all red. It's got red around the eyes. His beak is all like this, like, shiny ass, like ruby, like Daedric looking shit. Dude, this bird looks awesome. Dude, this is an awesome looking bird, dude. Dude, that bird looks dope. Damn, that thing looks cool, dude. Geb Bush. So the geese create all creation and shows Canada of all places to settle. Well, not these geese. Dude, these geese are like even... I wonder if they're more chill than Canadian geese. Funny enough, Canadian geese, at least where I live, when they migrate around here, like, and I see them, especially during the summertime and stuff, and spring, they're actually pretty chill. Like, if you feed them a little bit and at least kind of mind your distance, like, you know, the whole, like, 6 feet COVID distance, basically, like, they're chill with you. Like, they ain't gonna really fuck with you. Wait, it's called the Egyptian goose, but its range is not... Most of its range isn't even in Egypt. It's, like, pretty much almost everywhere but Egypt. And, obviously, like, the Sahara doesn't live out there. But, fucking, like... it only really lives in southern Egypt right there. It lives mostly, like, pretty much everywhere else in Africa, though. Outside of, like, some of this coastal range right here, you know, around this little bend. Which I'm assuming probably might have to do with industrialization or some shit like that. I mean, or pollution maybe. I got no fucking idea. I'm just taking guesses. Whoa, wait, hold on. I see tiny little red dots on some of these coasts. Yeah, just tiny little baby dots on some of them. Oh yeah, there is. Yeah, just little baby ones. What the fuck are you doing? Hey! What are you doing over there? Bastard. It's the only true goose god. Courage god when goose god loves a woman.
When a goose god loves a woman big and loud. When a goose god loves a woman, the goose god makes this sound.
Oh, how lovely.
Don't listen! Don't listen! Well, if he's not going to do anything,
then I'll just do it myself. Oh, Courage. I love Courage. She's so great. I like how, like, you know, throughout the entire show, at the first half of the show, he never really talked. But then as the show progressed, he actually started talking more. Like, he kind of broke out of his shell as the show kind of progressed. It's kind of one thing I've noticed. Like, you know, as the show went on, Courage started talking more. Like, because he would mostly make, like, you know, he'll make his little, like, gibbery noises mostly. But, you know, like I said, as, you know, he continues to kind of, you know, go on, you know, he will eventually kind of, you know, start actually talking more. Kind of as a show that he's kind of breaking out of his shell as, you know, he, well, grows courage. Which only makes sense if Courage is a Chihuahua, but apparently he's supposed to be a Beagle. Yeah, he does not look like a Chihuahua. Like, his ears definitely, you know, are not Chihuahua-like. Yeah, he definitely is supposed to look kind of either like a Beagle or like, you know, some sort of a short-haired of some sort. Like a Beagle, or maybe like, you know, I don't know, like, he's definitely one of the more, like, smaller, you know, short-hair breeds. Maybe like a Corgi, even. Like a, you know, a Corgi with a little stump tail, possibly. I mean, I suppose that, you know, he could just be one of those dogs where he's kind of like a mutt, or he could just kind of be like whatever you infer. So, technically, he might be like a Beagle, Chihuahua, like, Corgi mix or some shit. I mean, who knows?
Human encounters with aliens.
Let's see what Paul's. Oh no! I took back into Paul, and he's literally going into aliens.
It's interesting.
I already have enough of this with Venom, but at least if Paul talks about it, he ain't gonna be a fucking weirdo.
Questions to ask you.
No offense, Venom. Okay, that was actually mean. I don't mean that, Venom. If he sees us.
You use the word spacecraft. How would they or you know that what they saw was actually a spacecraft?
Yeah, dude, the return to Slab really did scare the shit out of me. Return to Slab or suffer my curse.
Often the person has not actually
This is
seen
a
the
different
spacecraft,
guy.
but often they have.
This is a different dude. I thought this was the same guy. I don't know. Watch this dude. Let's go back and find some more. Jacques Ballet or Ballet. Ballet. Spielberg basic characters in Close Encounter. I think it's Joe. The surface level. TEDx Brussels. Jacques Ballet.
Also, it's weird and saying that lot. Fucking episode with a tree in the face. I know, dude. That one was a weird one. I mean, Courage did such a good job with horror, dude. I love this so much. And weirdly enough, for me, even though I got scared on some episodes, I never really got, like, scared. I got more scared over shit like Monsters Quest and stuff like that, like on History Channel when Monster Quest was a thing. As a kid growing up, I kind of enjoyed that level of cheese. As an adult, I wish I didn't. At least not on the History Channel.
50 years of physics in the dark room without
I should binge Courage come August. The Courage is, yeah, I need to kind of binge me some Courage too.
I see some of you recoiling in horror at the prospect of equations and tensor calculus. I'm not going to do that. I called my presentation a theory of everything else. Physicists today, professional physicists, are developing various theories of everything to try to reconcile the two.
I feel like his hair is a little better. I feel like his hair is a little better now than it was back then. But yeah, he has no excuse now, for sure.
I mean, also, I mean, he sounds super very quiet and like, I am going to very nice and quietly tell you about my thing.
Theories of physics today, general relativity and quantum mechanics. There are a couple of dirty little secrets in there that they are not telling you. The first one is that these two theories, each of which works very well in its own domain, are in violent contradiction in most of our world every day, especially with gravity. Therefore, the idea is to
This
try
dude
to
is super
develop theories
soft-spoken.
of everything that reconcile somehow, like string theory and others, would reconcile these two dominant views.
I just know Paul's gonna probably like
physics.
say something soon.
The other dirty little secret is that in all that we have left out a missing child. The missing child is the little sister of physics, is the physics of information, and that's what I would like to talk about this afternoon. The physics they teach us in college and in universities is the physics of energy. It has to do
Physics
with
of information, huh?
lasers and colors and particles and mass and fields, whatever.
What are you doing, dog?
is,
Hey.
And acceleration and inertia and all these things that you've been exposed to in high school, or college, and university. The problem is that they also teach us that information and energy are two sides of the same.
Yeah, I thought we went else you, huh? Called you out. I mean, I see it too. It's whatever.
The physics of information.
Let him be here and lurk.
Teach us the physics of energy. Now, going back to the 19th century, James Maxwell, discussing thermodynamics, took a very simple idea that if you pour hot liquid into a cold liquid, there will be an average temperature of the liquid between these two.
Oh shit, they see me. Fuck, what do I do?
The only way to stop that would be for a little demon, Maxwell's.
If I leave, I'll be seen as a coward, but if I stay, then they'll know I'm just not saying anything. Damn.
This demon, the law of thermodynamics,
Should I respond?
The two liquids will mix and will reach an average tepid temperature. Leo Szilard, who was a colleague of Einstein in 1929, went one step further and said for the
Oh, Paul's paying attention to this because he's going to need to break the fuck down what this is. I like me some TED Talks every now and then, but I am seriously lost. Let's see if I can read that title. I can't. Well, here, maybe if I, oh, well, I can see. Yeah.
That means that there is just
do that.
Information as there is energy.
Okay, it did help a little bit. Let's see.
And energy are, in fact, the two sides.
Okay, it's just saying the theory of everything.
So
Okay,
where is
so.
the missing system of physics. The physics of energy has to do again with particles and atoms and fundamental forces and mass and entropy and field and space dimensions X, Y, and Z.
Space dimension. Okay.
For time and momentum and
My brain not stony enough yet.
But we never talk about similar concepts on the side of the physics of information. And my argument is that in the next 50 years we will. I should disclose to you, I'm in a field where everybody works on full disclosure, so I might as well confess to you that I dropped out of physics. I had an advanced degree in physics only because I was good in math, so I could work out the equations.
Oh, so you dropped out of physics, huh? You're trying to lecture us about physics?
For a couple of reasons. First, I could never understand what they meant when they said time was a dimension. They say, okay, there is X, Y, and Z, so I get that from common experience. And we say, think of time the same way, only in the equation we put a little I in front of T for square root of -1, but don't think about that. And then you treat it the same way, and everything works fine. And that's in general relativity and other areas of physics, that's what you do. I could never get that, because in X, I can go this way, or I can go that way. In time, I cannot. I'm not allowed to do that. So we're very good at talking about how time passes. We don't know why time passes. Similarly, we're very good at talking about how things...
Don't we, though? I mean, because space-time is relative. I mean, like, we kind of know that much, and thus, like, we know that it's not exactly, like, a true set thing. So, oh my god, my brain's starting to hurt. Oh, fuck.
Why they fall down. And again, this is not something...
Oh, God. This is why I'm not, like, a nerd about this.
They never said that they couldn't explain those two things. The third thing that disgusted me was particles. You know, we have particles in...
His attempt, I gotta be honest with you, I'm trying to wrap my head around it, but I think that this talk just may be above my pay grade.
No, it is, Paul. I was hoping you would actually be able to discern most of this. I only got that part. I mean, it's like the whole, like, oh, time is not like a set relative thing. But, like, I kind of got that part a little bit, but I'm just like, but isn't it though? You know, like, but oh my god.
And I know it's an attempt to, like, give a layman's introduction to these ideas, but he's losing me. I don't know exactly how to parse this information. I don't have enough of a basis in...
You don't got the bro science yet.
There's nothing I can grab on.
I was able to at least grab on something, I think. Yeah,
philosophical mind. And it's hard for me to understand the philosophical angle of this and comment on it. I mean, I do understand that. You know, one of the interesting things that you mentioned at the very beginning is that the two kind of wings of physics, general relativity and quantum mechanics, are in direct conflict with one another, and yet both work as systems and produce testable.
You know, I guess that would kind of, you know, potentially put contradiction to the whole, like, relativity of time as well, like, because we don't really know much about quantum physics yet. Like, we haven't really delved much into that as much, you know, just period. So, I mean, honestly, you know, like, whatever that type of shit it has to kind of behold for us would definitely be very interesting and probably, you know, kind of redo our thinking about this type of shit.
Results. Which I think just kind of points to the idea we were talking about earlier, that our understanding of physical reality is not as comprehensive as a lot of people assume it is.
Certainly ain't. Okay, that fucking dryer's annoying me.
That's interesting.
I ain't going nowhere. I'm closing the door.
It's definitely a main component and a main theme of the three-body problem as well. This idea that there are fundamental discoveries about the nature of matter and the nature of reality that, if we were to make them, would open massive possibilities. But at this point in time, we don't really even know the basis of their existence.
I feel like this is the thing that Venom needs to kind of, like, get through first, a little bit of the potential of other life.
Three-body problem where physics are locked from us. I mean, it's, you know,
there's
I don't think that's necessarily
too much
true,
speculation,
considering that
especially fundamentally about how, like,
theories and new discussions,
you know,
and new
theoretically,
discoveries
other life would even react
in
or
these areas
be.
continue to happen. But I just,
I mean, hell,
just
maybe
think
their
that we
existence
are,
could literally rethink our structure of how
you know, we're
physics
just not
and
there
certain
yet.
things work.
Whether or not we will ever get there is another question entirely.
I suppose in a weird way, it's more about, like, his, I suppose, very singular-minded sense towards it, while also at the same time, I guess,
It has to do
being passionate about
like
getting
first part
expansive,
the
you know,
first
towards
book
newer, more,
and
like,
parts
futuristic
of
ideas.
the
It's
later
a
books, because
little conundrum, I
the later
guess.
books kind of work non-linear.
I suppose he is a conundrum.
Timelines take place during the Chinese Cultural Revolution.
Don't you dare open that door.
And deal with people who have varying levels of
Actually, here, I'll distract him.
involvement and belief in the kind of communist systems that underpin it. So it wouldn't shock me if there were dumbasses that worried about it being propaganda more than they worried about the implications.
Hey, no, stay.
And I don't think the
Patience.
three-body problem is any more propaganda than any American novel that's written from the perspective of an American.
I mean, think of Party
That's
Bomb is just a
another
fiction
one of
book.
those things.
It's science
It's like,
fiction. How would that be propaganda?
Disagreements and
By that logic, Starship Troopers is propaganda, which I guess technically it is.
from different cultures are propaganda.
Or at least the book.
But the mass ideas
The movie's more of a
of our
criticism
culture
of the propaganda that's in
are
the
just
book.
the description of reality, right?
Movie's better, though. The book is just like a weird pro-militarist narrative. It's just like, ugh, lame.
And there is just a I don't know. Your stuff is shit and my shit is stuff, basically, right? You know, what is propaganda to one country is just a cultural narrative in another country, and vice versa.
Try some of this new stuff. I kind of see that idea also being extrapolated in so many different things. Propaganda from one nation is just the culture of another. It's like, you can extrapolate that if, like, one person's terrorist is another person's freedom fighter. Even if maybe technically they might legit be terroristic.
Whoa.
Or propagandizing, in this case.
Yeah, this is like, this is munching brain cells thinking about this stuff, but I like it.
Munch some brain cells with this shit.
I like operating from a position of from a position of skepticism in the cultural way that
I kind of see that, like,
I think that's smart.
one element of, like, propaganda being, like, another cultural thing, kind of, like, really strong with this whole, like, America versus China thing right now. Because there's, like, legit a really strong, weird narrative that, like, oh, war's imminent, this and that, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's just, like, seriously being heavily, like, pumped, essentially. And it does kind of, you know, put a strong sense of, like, you know, whatever, I mean, good, bad, right, or wrong, you know, it's like the element of, like, the culture or, like, you know, politics of China is, like, you know, seen as, you know, like one thing, at least, while, you know, albeit while America does it in different ways, you know, has similar structures, but it's just seen as, like, you know, patriotism or, you know, like being, you know, like a good citizen or this or that or whatever the fuck, while, and, you know, and trying to, like, what they do is not really too much different. But either way, it's like, you know, not good. Yeah, at least in my mind. Because, like, you know, essentially, like, you know, on both ends, I mean, they are propaganda. But at the same time, it's just, like, used as kind of like, well, it's just like the culture. It's like, yeah, you know, it's like being, you know, against, you know, China's, like, kind of a part of the American zeitgeist a little bit. While in China's kind of the same thing, you know, on their end of things. Just done differently, in a way.
Expressed.
At least a pistol stick distracted him.
In the evolutionary record. I'm not talking about 1v1. There are a lot of animals that can beat a human being 1v1. I'm talking about as a group, we're the most voracious, insatiable, and efficient predators that our planet has ever produced.
So far.
And as such, if we extrapolate that idea out to these other alien civilizations, that any kind of hyper-advanced spacefaring civilization might just be traveling from planet to planet as soon as they discover sentient life via radio waves or whatever. They hear what we're broadcasting into the universe, and they start heading for us to harvest us. They start heading for us to dominate us.
Don't force Venom's position, Paul.
So this idea that, like, oh, if we lived in Dark Forest, we'd be dead already. We've only really been broadcasting our existence in a measurable way on this planet for a few hundred years. And we're talking about having enough human beings
not really.
to send.
Technically, the first, like, broadcast that went out, like, into space was technically the 1936 Olympics. like Hitler wanted to make sure that those, like, Olympics were broadcasted internationally in every way possible, that he basically indirectly made some of those radio waves go into space, essentially. Those were technically, like, the first radio waves sent out by us. I mean, so I guess technically it's been less than 100 years, not over 100.
See, we're very tied as human beings to this idea of a human lifespan.
What the hell, dog?
Our base measurement of time scale. When in actuality, a human lifespan is barely the blink of an eye in universal terms. And so
What does it say about you, dog?
Massively intelligent, vast space empire,
Little pup.
may have existed for billions of years. And may think of a trip of thousands of years at their level of technology to reach some other civilization and then subjugate it to be like we think about a year.
The first person to try to contact aliens was Hitler. I mean, not literally, but I mean indirectly.
Before they get any signal from us, when they show up and...
I mean, by the time, like, you know, aliens were to get those signals, it will be so muddied and so, like, undiscernible, like, they really wouldn't, they wouldn't be able to decipher it. But, especially considering the technology at the time. Though, if they were to get signals now, they would probably potentially be able to decipher it. Like, I mean, yeah, technically, but not directly. Like, he wasn't literally trying to make it go out to space. It just happened to be an indirect consequence of, you know, him pushing, you know, the whole idea of making, you know, the whole Olympics, you know, as public as possible, at least when it comes to broadcasting it. It was one thing he was adamant about pushing because he wanted to be like, oh yes, our German people are the best sport players and the best Olympians and blah, 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 blah. So that was kind of the main reason why. It was trying to be like, you know, some sort of populist, like, clout chase, basically. Though, of course, you got people like Jesse Owens who kind of flexed and fucked on that. Threw that for a loop. I loved how Hitler was so pissed off that he literally left Like, he literally left the Olympics early when Jesse Owens won. He got so mad, he literally left. He didn't even stay for the ceremonies when he was awarded the gold medal.
I'm not saying that I'm not struck by the horror of it, but God, I love feeling that quote-unquote dread of the unknown. You know what I mean? That sort of thing just fucking...
It gets deciphered to aliens. They're thinking, like, I think it says they love the Jews. Hitler, edit out the Jesse Owens. Edit them out.
You know, I have dread about the reality that I live in. You know what I mean? My limited sphere of influence. That's where all of my anxieties and uncertainties come from. The idea that we're all part of a giant interconnected wave that I couldn't possibly hope to understand, and that the grand narrative of the universe may not even include humanity. Oh my God, that is like,
Paul.
It's comforting, it's interesting,
Paul.
It's scary, but
Paul.
Scary in a good way.
Yo, Paul. Yo.
It really tickles my pickle.
I do agree, it does a little bit. I mean, considering that, you know, we at least... you know, like, what I do think I find humbling is that knowing that there is, like, micro-life and potentially at least, you know, basic, you know, sense of life out there. You know, so even if we maybe right now are potentially the only, like, modernized, like, civilization, sentient life out there, there's a strong idea that there's, like, all sorts of, you know, life that's potentially evolving, you know, to become something like us as well. You know, or maybe is already on the track to being that, like us. Maybe, you know, they're kind of like on some proto, like, you know, hominid level evolution, you know, somewhere, some fucking planet on the other side of this galaxy. I mean, we don't know. So, you know, it's like, we only can see the stars and maybe some of the planets, depending on how long we've been studying these stars and shit. You know, and the longer we research these solar systems, the more we understand about them. But even then, we're only getting, like, 1% of knowledge about it. Want to be better than it? Well, they probably will. They're not, you know, they don't have the same parameters and the same environmental pressures like we do. Like, they'll face fundamentally different environmental pressures than us, and thus will have totally different social, cultural, you know, political needs and other things. Like, I mean, they will, you know, like, we're not going to really totally comprehend how they would evolve. Which I think that it makes it kind of the more ominous thing. It's like, we don't know if that means they're going to end up being hostile or maybe friendly. You know, we don't know because of that. Like, you know, some of the environmental pressures might think that, you know, they evolved to be a little bit more callous and cold and maybe see us as kind of like a resource more so than like another sentient form, you know, to look at. You know, or whatever the fuck, you know, or maybe they end up being kind of like the Vulcans in Star Trek or some shit, you know, we don't really know. And I think, frankly, we're just not going to. At least not for a long fucking time. And I think that's fine. In a way, that's a little humbling. At least for me, in a sense. Because it's like, that doesn't mean we're alone. That just means that, like, you know, the universe is just so grand that, you know, we're just like one tiny little thing in all of it. I mean, so at the end of the day, like, you know, we're just like one piece of the overall, like, you know, book that is the universe, you know. We're just like one tiny little page of all of it, frankly. It's also like our galaxy's the chapter, we're on this planet, on this Earth, are just like one fucking page on the chapter of Earth, you know, when it comes to like the book of our galaxy, you know, when it comes to like the bigger chapter that is our galaxy, you know. I've discussed this. It's pretty big, you know, and like, in a way, there's a sense of it being kind of humbling.
In order to create an AI which is simultaneously
I will admit, like, thinking back, when I was playing that song, The Greatest Show on Earth, earlier, that 24-minute song where I, like, started bawling out of nowhere, that's kind of why, like, because that song really deeply, you know, goes into, like, that kind of theme, you know, about, like, you know, the universe is so grand and we're just, like, one little speck, and frankly, out of the dice roll and the gamble, like, there's potentially plenty of more, like, brighter minds, so to speak, that could have been, but yet we're the ones who push the odds, and yet we're just here, you know. It's like, you know, so at the end of the day, there is kind of like a humbling thought to that. Despite all the bullshit, you know. Because in a weird way, like, you know, we obviously can be better, and there's also potential in our life that is probably going to be better than us. Or not, but in a humbling way, it's like the fact that we are just us, you know, it says something in itself.
This isn't all that nightmarish to me.
At the end of the day, good, bad, right, or wrong. But that part, I guess, in a way, could be subjective. That's why I love the song so much, too. At least getting to that part, because it's, you know, broken down into different chapters. Like, the first part is 4.6, which is supposed to kind of, like, refer to, like, the first part of the life of Earth and our solar system. And after the 4.6, that's when, like, life starts becoming a thing on the planet. And that chapter is about, like, life before the toolmaker, which humans come into play. And that chapter is about us. In a way, that chapter of the song wraps up is just like fucking fucking really honestly poetic. Plus, Richard Dawkins is on the song. And you can't go wrong with that.
But how would it torture it? See, I don't really fully understand, I guess. How would it torture people for imagining it if it's not in existence yet?
Huh?
We're talking about like we're talking about an AI that can...
We're on AI now? Whoa.
Affect its past, I guess.
Huh? Huh? Was someone in the chat too high? I think somebody in Paul's chat was a little too high. Asking whatever question they just asked.
Rocco's argument ties together two hotly debated academic topics: Newcomb-like problems in decision theory and normative uncertainty in moral philosophy. One example of a Newcomb-like problem is the prisoner's dilemma. This is a two-player game in which each player has two options: cooperate or defect. By assumption, each player prefers to defect rather than cooperate, all else being equal, but each player also prefers mutual cooperation over mutual defection. For example, we can imagine that if both players cooperate, both get $10, and if both players defect, then both get $1. But if one player defects and the other cooperates, the defector gets $15 and the cooperator gets nothing. One of the basic open problems in decision theory is that standard rational agents will end up defecting against one another, even though it would be better for both players if they would somehow enact a binding mutual agreement to cooperate instead. In an extreme version of the prisoner's dilemma that draws out the strangeness of mutual defection, one can imagine that one is playing against an identical copy of oneself. Each copy knows that the two copies will play the same move, so the copies know that the only two possibilities are we both cooperate or we both defect. In this situation, cooperation is the better choice, yet casual decision theory, the most popular theory amongst working decision theorists, endorses mutual defection in the situation. This is because CDT tacitly assumes that the two agents' choices are independent. It notes that the defection is the best option, assuming my copy is already going to defect. And that defection is also the best option, assuming my copy is already definitely going to cooperate. So since defection dominates, it defects. Weird. That's really interesting.
I kind of want to like mention something about the first little chunk, but then that extreme part of it just kind of like threw me for a loop. I'm just like, curious. Makes sense in a way. At least for the first part, where
also observe that if two agents with common knowledge of each other's source code are separated in time, the later agent can seemingly blackmail the earlier agent. Call the earlier agent Alice and the later agent Bob. Bob can be an algorithm that outputs things Alice likes if Alice left Bob a large sum of money. and outputs things Alice dislikes otherwise. And since Alice knows Bob's source code exactly, she knows this fact about Bob, even though Bob hasn't been born yet. So Alice's knowledge of Bob's source code makes Bob's future threat effective, even though Bob doesn't yet exist. If Alice is certain that Bob will someday exist, then mere knowledge of what Bob would do if he could get away with it seems to force Alice to comply with his hypothetical demands. That's really fucking interesting. So that explains what I was asking earlier.
I kind of
finally think I'm starting to wrap my head around this.
And I'm starting to have my head get lost into sauce. Like, what? Can I even try to wrap my head around that again? I don't think I can. I'm never going to try.
Rocco raised the point in context of debates about the possible behaviors and motivations of advanced AI systems. In this vein, there's the ominous possibility that if a positive singularity does occur, the resultant singleton may have pre-committed to punish all potential donors who know about existential risks but didn't give 100% of their disposable incomes to X-risk motivation. This would act as an incentive to get people to donate more to reducing existential risk and thereby increase the chances of positive singularity. This seems to be what coherent extrapolated volition of humanity might do if it were an acausal decision maker. Whoa.
Okay, maybe I'm starting to get it a little bit now. I think I might have got that. And if so, whoa, is right.
That's crazy.
Because I feel like, if I'm getting that right, I feel like it's kind of a little analogous to, like, how humans can be kind of, like, greedy and exploitative, in a sense, and how, like, they're... I think, and how, like, an AI could potentially, you know, in a sense, be, like, developing in that sense. I think
Basilisk is intuitively.
I think I might have gotten that a little bit.
For a future agent to follow through with the threat in the future, because by doing so, it just expends resources at no gain to itself. We can formalize that using classical causal decision theory.
Okay, I think so.
Yeah, I feel like I have at least a working baseline understanding of what is being discussed here, although I know very little about decision theory.
And I think I'm starting to as well now, actually. I think.
As presented.
I don't know, but I think. I feel like this is, like, almost above my pay grade.
Is more viable for longevity on a cosmic scale, artificial intelligence or natural stupidity? I mean, obviously artificial.
Natural stupidity? What the fuck? No. That'd be absurd. Yeah, like, let the natural stupidity of man just, like, let's go those, and just, like, yeah, that's gonna work.
Singularity refers to...
I mean, look at Musk now, like that, yeah, this is working out well.
AI systems, like a highly moral AI agent, one whose actions are consistent with our coherently extrapolated volition, want to be created as soon as possible. Rocco argued that such an AI could use acausal blackmail to give humans stronger incentives to create it. Rocco made the claim that a hypothetical AI agent would particularly target people who had thought about this argument because they would have a better chance of mentally simulating the AI's source code. Rocco added, of course, this would be unjust, but it's the kind of unjust thing that is oh so very utilitarian. Interesting.
So, like, an AI could, like, you know, could potentially learn that, you know, people are already aware of potential, like, things an AI could do, and, I mean, it kind of plays in a way of, like, how, like, in Terminator Skynet is, because, like, at least in the third film, at least in the trilogy, I mean, at least, I kind of recognize those more than any of the other films, more than anything, but...
Reliant on
At least for, like, the third one, it really kind of delves into, like, Skynet specifically targeting very specific people to, like, maximize its takeover, essentially. Like, that was kind of, like, the big role, outside of just, like, going after Sarah Connor or whatever the fuck, or, you know, or, you know, like, fucking, goddamn, what? Nah, I'm blanking on his name. Holy shit. John Connor. There we go. Fucking hell, why did I blank on his name there for a second? Anyway, but, like, you know, at least in the second movie, going after him as a kid. Third movie kind of went after, like, specific, like, higher-ups, you know, that were, like, you know, a part of, you know, what would potentially quell Skynet, but, you know, eliminating them, you know, essentially maximizes, you know, their takeover and shit. Kind of like, you know, preemptively understanding and knowing that before Skynet even totally takes over, knowing and understanding that it needs to do that in order to take over. It's like, whoa. Okay, now I'm starting to get it a little bit now, I think. I think I'm starting to get what, like, he's talking about.
It could use its ability to...
I was able to use, like, Hollywood entertainment to figure it out.
to punish human beings who ended up being a net negative to its creation.
So, yeah, almost kind of like
in the past, in order to foment its the rise of the singularity faster.
Yeah, so that is basically kind of like how Skynet is in the Terminator like universe. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm starting to get it now. Okay, now I get it. My stoner brain has figured it out. I figured out what he's talking about now. Now my head is now on the same playing field.
Probably do well with half an organic brain, half robotic brain if it can work together properly. The human.
I mean, this does. I mean, because now that you kind of mentioned that does kind of sound like, you know, if you think about it, like how Skynet works, you know, in a way. But instead, it's just extrapolating that on a very extreme, broad level of just humanity. Period. You know, to reach the machine singularity. You know, that Skynet's achieving. So, I mean, you know, because in a way they see humans as like a resource more than anything else at that point, you know, to maximize, you know, their potential to get to the singularity, hence, you know, the actions that they take. So, yeah, I mean, that all right, now it all makes sense to me.
The skull, hooking the mechanics up to the body, powering.
Took me a while to digest this.
They're gonna hugely change what it means to be a human.
Transhumanism. Definitely down for that. I want that shit. I feel like furries will actually get their day if transhumanism is a thing.
It's gonna make a lot of the stuff that we deal with on the day-to-day and care very much about, like, petty nonsense. And in fact, on a long enough time scale, it really is.
I mean, at least on a cosmetic level, furries will get their day just because, like, if you get, like, transhuman eyes, you know, some cosmetic shit, like, I want a tail, I want, like, these features or some shit. There you go, boom. At least cosmetically, you can have that type of shit.
A single is going to change us. It's not just going to change the world or the...
Definitely down for that type of shit.
We interact with. We become part of it.
Let us furries have our day, damn it.
Like, the nature of knowledge will change. Because you will have access to the singleton at all times. And so, you knowing the answer to this question or that question, or knowing the different philosophical implications, because you read 1,000 books or whatever and really dedicated your life to it, that becomes pointless. Because that knowledge is at your fingertips.
I wouldn't necessarily say pointless, but more obsolete.
All knowledge is at your fingertips. That's why I said that it fundamentally changes the idea of being human. Humans have been locked into survival. Like, survival is the main driver of every species on this planet. And that means trying to come up with technology
That's a little too true.
to make our survival more likely. A singleton shuts that door. And so the fundamental drive of human beings, the fundamental drive of life as we know it, ceases to exist the moment that a singularity takes place. And we move into a different phase of existence. What that looks like, I mean, your imagination is as good as mine on that. What would human beings do if their survival was assured? What would human beings do if their knowledge was assured and the need to search for that knowledge was no longer necessary?
So that would be something.
I don't know. I don't know what that looks like.
Better than this? Better than what we got now? I'd argue that. I definitely wouldn't know what it would look like, though. I mean, yeah, that basically would be up to the mind at that point. I guess it'd be like a benevolent, like, Borg almost, I guess? I guess as close as you can get.
Who said the internet causes autism? There's actually no studies that indicate that the internet causes autism. The rise in autism
is that like some autism speaks bullshit?
From a better
is it like? Cause honestly, that type of shit is like something I'd hear like autism speaks say, because they think it's like some sort of thing that's like contracted and all this and that and blah blah blah. You have to ask then how much knowledge is necessary for survival. Well, I think what Paul's saying is that, like, if our survival needs, I guess, you know, you could think about, like, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs in this case. Like, I mean, he's kind of mentioning, like, if our needs are basically guaranteed, you know, like the housing, you know, our basic, you know, quality of life, you know, and all these things, including the expansion of such, like, I mean, if all that's already just ensured and guaranteed, then, you know, it's not that even if you necessarily have that knowledge, even if it is already at your fingertips, basically, you know, it's not that it's necessarily that you have it, it's just that it's already there for you. And of course, by proxy, you're probably going to know that and be aware of that and have that knowledge eventually, you know, at some point. But, I mean, it's, you know, it becomes like something where you don't really necessarily have to, like, fret or worry about at that point, because now you can kind of focus on different things, like, and expand your knowledge in other fields or other things a little bit. Like, I mean, it's, like I say, I mean, I guess you could kind of refer to, like, the Maslow hierarchy of needs in a sense. So it'd be learning for fun. Or just, you know, for, like, sheer curiosity's sake. I mean, I would say that humanity as a species is a very curious species, honestly. We tend to be very curious about a lot of things. I mean, so we tend to, like, be very exploreful and learn different things. And honestly, and when we do, especially when we have new discoveries, we're pretty eager to share that shit. You know, or if we create something, or if we, saw something cool, we're very eager to share stuff like that. So, like, when it comes to, like, a singularity of, like, being able to share that knowledge and have it, like, almost immediately at the fingertips, especially if you want to access it, like, I mean, that's, you know, it's kind of like really more streamlining, you know, how we learn, you know, more or less than just learning for fun. I mean, because obviously, you know, as a species, we're still going to have to learn, you know, as, you know, we continue to, you know, go forth as a species, you know, but, like, it's more or less just having more of, like, a singularization of that, you know, where, you know, it's more of, like, you know, spread out, you know, where everyone's learning that, you know, almost kind of like at once, because, again, it's like a singularity at that point. Whether it's, like, interwoven with transhumanism or, like, with an AI or whatever the fuck. I guess we have, like, a proto version of that with the internet right now, but not everybody in the world has access to it, for one, and for two, there's also a lot of disinformation and a lot of other shit, you know, there's a lot of complexities of it, but we kind of have, like, a proto version so far, I guess. A very early nascent, like, Stone Age equivalent of one.
Not just to humans, but other primates, other animals as well. And, you know, corporations within the last 20 to 30 years, specifically when it comes to the internet and the technology surrounding it, have just started to get really good at manipulating that. It doesn't mean...
Well, that's actually kind of criticism I was talking about this whole proto-singularity thing, yeah.
By which people satisfy that attention are getting more efficient.
I think Paul's actually partially answering your question, too, now.
More directly designed.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, too. At least what I did catch. But I think I think somebody might have asked this similar question.
Japan is very dependent on the task the human being is doing. Right. And I think that is fundamentally more true than this idea that the human attention span is changing. No. I mean, I have to be honest with you. I
It's a little both.
For an absolute
I do think there is an element that the human attention span is changing to an extent. Because even maybe it's just bias or something, but I personally feel like my attention span, so to speak, was different growing up versus now. But I guess I don't know if that's necessarily due to any specific variables or not. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so
work-life balance.
I know these probably play a role, you know, like, that's kind of what I mean, I guess. Overstimulation. Yeah, I definitely think overstimulation is a part of it. Work-life balance is another part of it. Like, you know, I think there's a lot of variables that play a role with this. Like, you know how there might be, like, a lot of, quote-unquote, like, over-diagnosis of ADHD, which I don't even necessarily think is the case. Like, I think maybe we just don't have a total true understanding about that. Like, maybe, you know, there is an element about ADHD that might be like a temporary thing for people, but, you know, depending on overstimulation or this or that or other factors, maybe it could something that kind of like, you know, kind of goes away over time, you know, like, I mean, maybe we just don't have a true understanding about that, you know what I mean? And it's just like, and we just don't have a proper, you know, true approach at understanding it at all. Because we think, oh, you know, we're just being, you know, we just have like a lot of shit around us, and thus we're just like, blah, 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 like all the time. I mean, it's like, well, yes, but is like that, you know, by proxy a permanent thing, or they just grew up like that? I don't know. I mean, we just probably don't have a total proper understanding about that. So I think, you know, maybe to some extent, like ADHD might be like not necessarily like a permanent like factor about like someone's, you know, neurology, but, you know, to some extent might be even a temporary thing just because of certain factors like overstimulation and like social media, or the fact that there's just like a lot of go like constant shit, you know, when it comes to like, you know, like the whole work-life balance and stuff. I mean, I think there might just be a lot of factors that lead to people kind of having those type of, you know, like behaviors and shit. I mean, obviously it's not like a fault of them, you know, or anything like that. It's just, I think we have a misunderstanding about these things. And if we actually had a proper approach towards, you know, looking at mental health care, I mean, and looking at mental health, I think we would probably have a better understanding about these things. Because, you know, honestly, with certain things like ADD or ADHD, I think there is at least an element of misunderstanding about stuff like that. Because I kind of feel like I have some elements about that, but that just might be like, you know, the autism in me a bit. But I feel like, you know, to a certain extent, due to certain elements about like overstimulation of like work-life balance, social media, stuff like that, I feel like it's, you know, exacerbated certain parts of that, but I can't prove it, you know. So I don't know, you know, it's like maybe there's elements about like there's certain environmental factors that really kind of like inflame those type of elements about, you know, like one's neurology and shit. And again, it's not a bad thing. It's just something that, you know, is a byproduct of our environment.
I mean,
what are you doing, dog?
That's part of, in my opinion, moving social interaction out of the real world and onto the internet. There are plenty of people on the planet that still have healthy social interaction despite their, you know, constant participation in the internet. But there are a growing group of people whose
I at least hope to think I'm one of those people.
happens on the internet. Or is heavily.
Because I definitely still have a social life outside the internet.
That is, in my estimation,
got a lot of people, you know, at work that I talk to and chill with. Got my friend group. One of my roommates works at work, you know, with me. So
the same dopamine hits, but there's no, at least at this point, given our current technological state, there's no replacement for human interaction, direct in-person interaction. Gut sick gibbon, huh? Alright, I'll take a look. and a PSP and an iPad Touch when I was a teenager. It was pretty distracting. I can imagine. I mean, I had a desktop computer when I was a teenager, and I was an early adopter of that.
Man, I had a computer when I was fucking 3.
I didn't know what a computer was or did.
Like, I have a picture of me when I was a kid, you know, like, in
And
front
the
of that
internet
thing.
was just completely and utterly...
I mean, luckily I was actually regulated with the time using it, but, I mean, yeah, I had one.
was absolutely fucking sucked in by that technology. And it took, you know, time, and it was limited, incredibly limited in compared to now. So I can only imagine what growing up with all of that.
That's why I kind of worry about kids growing up now, because I was, like, playing maybe, like, Age of Empires or Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 back in the day, you know, for, like, a couple hours. Or, like, Civilization 3 or some shit. And then you got, like, the Fortnites, and then, like, you know, fucking mobile games and all this and that. Which, I mean, sometimes can be fun, I guess. But, like, oh my god. The fact that there's so many, like, I mean, especially being a retail worker at a grocery store, yeah, I can't even tell you how many times I see parents who will just, like, shove their phone in front of their kid's face and let them play, like, some game or something. And it's just like, oh my god. It's like you can't, like, give them, like, at least anything else, or maybe, like, have, like, your husband or boyfriend or whoever the fuck, or, like, a friend or something, like, take them to the park or something like that. I mean... It's like, I mean, it's not even the fact that they're sending them in the store with them, but just like all this other weird shit about, like, here, have a phone and be stimulated with that instead so I don't have to pay attention to you. It's just like, bruh.
It's been fun chilling. I will, see you guys some other time, huh?
Is an idea, give him a buck. Or that. I mean, honestly. Paul didn't want to continue his little philosophical musings. I was actually kind of, you know, I didn't even really expect to tune in and, you know, go into, like, you know, hearing deep philosophical musings, you know, honestly, you know, with Paul tonight. But, you know, I like that. There were some interesting little things that were pontificated. Frankly, my brain feels all like... So, you know, it's definitely been stimulated, you know, with, like, whoa, some interesting musings. There's an idea, but yeah, I mean, and I will admit, at least it seems like at least around here, there's more of a gumption with, you know, parents to, like, send their kids out. Because I remember at least, like, a few times where I walk my dog, I'll just, like, see kids, like, on their own playing at, like, the park and shit. I'll try to make sure that my dog is, like, well away from them, because I don't want him just wandering up and be like, what are you all about? And then I have to go pick him up and be like, hey, what's up, kids? You know, I'm gonna get my dog back now. Bye-bye. You know, it's like... I mean, and look, but, you know, I'll see him running around just doing, like, what I was doing growing up, so I'm just like, okay, whew. There's parents in the neighborhood that actually, like, give a shit about their kids and, like, you know, just kicks them outside and be like, be back by sundown, go play at the park or something with your friends. So it's just like, at least around here, there's still gumption about that, apparently, at least with some people. And frankly, they were doing the same shit when I was growing up. Like, it's the last time I was, like, at the I nicknamed it the Water Tower Park. Actually, I think that might literally be the name of it, because it has a water tower in the middle of the damn park. But when I was over there, I was having like this pulled pork sandwich I got from a food cart, walking my dog. And I was gonna like, you know, play catch with him and fetch with him at that park, but there's a bunch of kids there, so I was like, well, I'll just eat my sandwich and then just walk over to the other park that's like on the other side of where my house was. So, you know, one of those not that far away. And but while I was there, just eating my sandwich, like, one of the kids was like, God damn it, shit. And one of the other kids was just like, hey, you're not supposed to be, you know, saying, you know, bad words like that. And he was like, what? Now my parents aren't here. And I'm just like, God damn it, that kid reminds me of me growing up. It's like, God damn it, shit. And some other kid was like, you can't say that. And I'm just like, I don't give a fuck, my parents ain't here. I'm just like, man, that kid reminds me of me. What a little edgelord. It's like, you know, like, at least there's at least some parents out there, at least, you know, and also some kids out there that are at least going outside, exposed to the sun, you know, just, like, riding their bikes, you know, and being with their little friend groups, like, you know, like, what I was doing growing up as a kid, or, like, you know, what my poppy was doing as a kid. Not to get old man boomerang about it, but, I mean, shit. Like, I mean, it's like, like, honestly, that does, bring me just like, hey, right on, because they're not, like, sitting in front of a fucking, like, just like, oh, I'm just gonna sit, like, in front of this phone or whatever the fuck. It's like, oh, thank God. And none of them had any phones with them at all. They were literally all just, like, preoccupied on, like, the little jungle gym, doing their thing. And I was sitting at, like, some sort of picnic table, like, 50 feet away. They were just loud, rambunctious kids. But at least, it was in an environment where it's appropriate. It wasn't at a grocery store where I'm just like, you fucking little carpet dragger motherfuckers. Curtain climber son of a bitches. Little booger munchers. Which kid reminds me of you? That one. The kid keeps shoe boxes of dead animals. Okay, so that might be an issue. Well, luckily none of them were going with that. In fact, one of them mentioned, like, oh, look, that guy has a cute puppy. And I just kind of looked up and was like, Zukov, don't get any ideas about running up over there, because he popped his head up, like, what? Someone said puppy. Because, like, he'll kind of recognize that a little bit. And, he wanted to, like, interact with him a lot, because he was, like, staring at him, but... And frankly, I mean, knowing how kids are, how curious they are, I'm surprised they didn't walk up and be like, can we pet your dog, blah, 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 and, like, they never did. And the thing is, you would think so, because, like, kids are confident when they're in, like, their little packs. Like, when kids are in their fucking packs, dude, they're, like, confident as fuck, dude. Like, when they're when they're all alone, like, lone wolfing it, they're, like, shy and never, like, say shit to people. But, like, when they're in, like, packs of, like, 5 or more, or, like, 3 or more, or some shit, like, they're confident. Like, so I was kind of shocked that none of them ever, like, came up to me about my dog, being like, can we pet him, and blah, 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 blah. I would have let him. I mean, he's a sweet boy. I mean, he'll never deny pets, and scritches. Like, this dog is ridiculous. Did that make you hopeful of the youth? I mean, it did, yeah. Because, I mean, it just, just lets me know that, like, alright, there's some parents out there that, kick their kids out in the street for, like, a couple hours a day and just be like, hang out with your friends and do something outside. I don't care what. Just be back by sundown. Like, that logic. It's just like, I mean, because once you're at home and you're waiting for dinner to be made, you can play your video games with your buddies then, or whatever the fuck, or you can go over to your friend's house. I mean, whatever, Just, one of those things. And it's what I did growing up and shit. And it's like, damn it. You see more of that shit. Too often do I see kids just go in their houses and just never leave. It's like, go outside and ride a bike, you fucking little carpet dragon, little curtain climber, booger eaters. What's this 100-year-old lady? Widow of a World War II veteran compares Florida book ban to Nazi Germany. Oh, I think I saw this. Recently changed my mind. I think that something like summer camp would be good for kids. Just be careful who you leave them with. Honestly, like, I mean, say what you want, but I unironically went, like, growing up for a little bit of time to, like, Christian summer camps. Honestly, like, the elementary, middle school period fucking sucked. The high school period of it was actually chill because they only had the whole Christian sermon bullshit at 2 times a day. Before dinner. Yeah, it was before dinner. Like, everything between that was just free time. And after lunch was actually, like, different activities. So there will be, like, little sport events or, like, little team-based events and stuff like that. So there wasn't actually, like, at least a high school level of the whole summer camp shit. It legitimately wasn't really, like, God-bothery. Like, it was more God-bothery with, like, the younger kids and shit. Like, I mean, but honestly, like, for me, like, I had, like, a little friend group, like, within, like, the little local church that I went to, growing up. Maybe a way to go because forces socialization. Yeah, like, I'm okay with just regular summer camp. That's why I preemptively said, say what you want, because, I personally don't like the whole religious God-bothering bullshit I had to deal with. But what I did like, though? The fact that there was, like, this cool-ass, like, fucking, like, weird tunnel PVC pipe tube that you could take, like, a little inner tube and, like, go down into this big fat little pond. There's, like, a lake you could do some kayaking in. Like, I mean, there was, like, a zip line out there. There's, like, a gigantic pool that you can go swim in and shit. Like, they had, like, a little concession stand where you could get some pretty, some good food and stuff like that, frankly. I'm not even gonna lie. And some, like, shakes and stuff like that. Like, honestly, it was actually, I'm not even gonna lie, it was actually pretty legit. I'm not even gonna fucking lie. It was actually not even that bad. It was actually pretty legit. Like, it had this really cool, like, outdoor, like, auditorium thing, you know, that was pretty cool because there would be different activities done there and shit. Like, there was some really cool stuff there, honestly. I'm not even gonna lie. You know, it was, you know, so for what it wasn't really that bad. You know, so, like, and especially in high school, like, you know, at least in that time when I was going to the summer camps there, which was really for, like, only, like, 2 or 3 years. And after that, I was just like, I'm just not interested anymore. But at least, you know, during that time, like I said, like, there was literally like, every day at most, like, 2 hours of God-bothering shit. And that was after breakfast, and I think it was it was before dinner, I think. Or, no, I think I said after dinner. But it was after breakfast and then after dinner. Or something like that. It was one. I'm starting to get mixed up a little bit, but either way, it was something like that. So, you know, at least it was like that every day, and most of it was just kind of free time or, like, you know, like, organized little events and shit. So it was actually pretty legit, frankly. That's why I say what you want. So just take all the cool legit shit, like, you know, have like a fucking little summer camp for kids where it's like you got a zip line there, you got like a gigantic fucking lake where you can, you know, kayak and like swim in. You got like the, you know, some, you know, like a big ass pool. You got like, you know, big old cool basketball court thing. I mean, that was also at the summer camp. They had like a cool gym where you could, you know, play basketball, stuff like that. Like, you know, just all that type of shit, like, just dead ass, you know, and just, like, you know, let it be, like, a 1 to 2 week thing, or, fuck, even a month or some shit, I don't give a shit, you know, and even have, like, a winter-based thing, like, so when school's off for the winter, you know, like, you know, let, like, you know, sometime during that time, you know, fuck it, let there be, like, a little winter camp thing, because, at the same time, like, while we had the whole church summer camp thing, so we also had a church winter camp thing. And I only went to that once, and honestly, like, the area that was at was actually pretty cool. There wasn't really as many activities, so to speak, but it was a really cool, like, wilderness area, and you could explore it. Like, you just had to at least be, like, chaperoned so you didn't, like, wander off, so to speak. So, you know, I just went with one of my, like, you know, cabin youth pastor dudes, and I was just like, yeah, I just want to go explore a little bit, because this place looks cool. And we just kind of talked about nature and, you know, stuff like that, you know, more than anything else. Like, we never went into God-bothering nonsense, just because, honestly, everything, you know, about, like, the area we're in, it was, like, out in Eastern Oregon or some shit. I don't even fucking remember where it was. But, honestly, it was, like, scenically, a fucking beautiful place. It was also where I tried sarsaparilla for the first time and realized, oh my god, that shit is amazing. I think about dealing with the religious stuff does help with dealing with straight horse shit. True. Can you kids think for yourselves yet? I mean, not really. Let me tell you something about your Lord Savior Jesus Christ. Here, let me go spring a leak real quick, and then we'll delve into this, because I kind of remember seeing this a little bit. I just realized, why is there a fucking sheriff next to her? What the hell? He's holding on to the mic. It's like, my job as a sheriff, you know, as a duty to my citizens, is to hold this mic for this old lady. You know what? That's what cops should be doing. Hold mics for people. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what's called serving your community, bitch. Instead of tasing people, hold mics up for people. Or, well, ready to pin her on the ground if she gets out of line. Yeah, if this old lady gets out of line, I'm gonna have to, you know, put her, you know, under arrest and detain her. Starts whacking people over purse. I mean, you know, honestly, considering the Florida book bans, it's definitely merited, you know, to have some old lady just all full piss of vinegar, just like, I'm gonna whack some people with this purse over this shit. Like, I mean, we need, like, some, like rabble-rousy old ladies that don't give a fuck no more, honestly. I mean, well, I guess we got one right here, but here, like I said, I'll be right back. You go, good boy. Yeah. Go. Goofy little dog. Alrighty. Alright. Let's see this old lady, start whacking people with her purse verbally.
100 years young. I'm here.
Wait, hold up. Wait, how did she start? Wait, did she just say she's 100 years young?
I am 100 years young.
Hey, she's still got some spunk in her when she's like, yeah, I'm a century young bitch. What are you gonna do about that?
I'm here to protest our school's district book banning policy. My husband, Robert Nickel, was killed in action in World War II. At a very young age, he was only 26.
Oh, I thought that honestly was like something in my house.
Defending our democracy,
He was 26, damn.
Constitution, and freedoms. One of the freedoms that the Nazis crushed was the freedom to read the books they banned. They stopped the free press, banned and burned books. The freedom to read, which is protected by the First Amendment, is our essential right and duty of our democracy. Even so, it is continually under attack by both the public and private groups who think they hold the truth. In response to the book banning throughout our country and Martin County, last year, during the time I was 99, I have created this quilt to remind all of us that these few of so many more books that are banned or targeted need to be proudly displayed and protected. And read if you choose to. The quilt was shown on national TV as part of Ali Valshi's Banned Book Club segment. Banned books and burning books are the same. Both are done for the same reason. Fear of knowledge. Fear is not freedom. Fear is not liberty. Fear is control. My husband died as a father of freedom. I am a mother of liberty.
Oh, that's based.
Books need to be proudly displayed and protected from school boards like this. Thank you.
Oh, fuck, dude. Damn, she really kind of like popped off at the end. Holy fuck, dude. Damn. Oof. Oh, shit, dude. I'm not even gonna lie, dude. That guy, I think that almost might that jerked a tear a little bit. That might have just jerked a tear a little bit. Just a little bit at the end of that. Oh, fuck, dude. That was a good one. She popped off at the end. Holy shit. Ooh. You know what? Yeah, she kind of jerked, I think, a tear out of me. Yeah, you know what? She did. I'm not even gonna fucking, deny it. She did a little bit. Look at that. Look at the shit. Yep. Just a tad there. Damn. See, yeah, she was slapping, her purse around verbally. And everyone was just like, yeah! Freaking damn right, yeah, honestly. I mean, dead ass though, frankly. I mean, because, like, shit. It just shows that, just like, there's not, like, this whole generational, like, gap between, like, politics and shit. Because, like, plenty of, like, old folks and shit, just like her, that, still got, like, that hardcore, like, anti-fascist, like, piss and vinegar in them. And, ooh. And she's got, like, that old, like, kind of, like, early 1900s, like, classy poetry with it, too. I mean, it's like, my husband died a father of liberty, and I'm, still living as a mother of, my husband died a father of freedom, and I'm still living as a mother of liberty. It's just like, oof. I mean, that's like something you would hear from, like, some, like, shit from, like, some sort of, like, you know, women's suffragette, like, slash, like, labor activist or some shit back in, like, the 20s, and it's like, damn. You don't hear that, like, you know, shit as much. It's like, oof. That's what I want. I want more of that. We need more of that shit. There's just enough time between the oldest generation on the way out now where people have started to forget about what made our country great. Yeah. Well, and also, I'm starting to think, you know, in a way that, like, at least for some, you know, they're starting to kind of get reminded of it, being like, oh shit, like, you know, there are at least some fragments about what has, you know, made parts of the country great and shit, and has more potential to that. And that's kind of like, you know, what I see a little bit. I don't think there was ever a point where this country was, like, great, but there has been points where this country has, you know, gotten to a framework of potential to be that, but it's just always been curtailed in one way or another. Like I'd say, like, the reaction of the Gilded Age was, like, a part of that. Like, you know, there was, you know, like, a foundation of, like, what could have, you know, really made this country great there for a minute, you know, when it came to, like, the reaction with the labor movement towards the Gilded Age and corporatization and the robber barons of the time. But, you know, just eventually it was, you know, something that got curtailed, you know, and, you know, it's like there was different times, you know, like the Civil Rights Movement, I think, was, you know, another example of this, where there's, like, a framework and a foundation of, like, oh shit, you know, we could potentially, like, you know, start pushing towards, you know, more proper direction, but it just got curtailed over time. I mean, it's like, I mean, whenever there's always, like, a foundation to be like, oh, we could start making it great, it's like, you know, something always, you know, like, whatever variable it may be given the event, it's like it always, you know, crushes it down. I'm on the notion that most of the face to people have horrible memories. Wait, remember when this didn't work? Oh yeah, let's try something else. Who am I kidding? This time it'll definitely work for sure. I mean, yeah. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people that, I mean, these days tend to have a little bit more of a shorter attention span. Or just weren't properly taught about history and just don't really understand, like, the actual, like, you know, ramifications that history has had. I mean, because honestly, I kind of had an idea about, like, how, like, the Gilded Age, you know, had on America even before I really truly understood the labor movement, because in U.S. history, it was literally, like, a part of the unit that we were taught at, you know, a part of the pre-World War I Reconstruction era of U.S. history. Like, a part of that is the Gilded Age, you know, and never, like, the labor movement, it was never, like, a specific thing, but it was, like, kind of very vaguely tangentially, you know, mentioned because of the fact that, you know, it played some part of U.S. history and shit, you know, but it was just never properly mentioned in a way that made you really think about it, you know. Like, I found out about all that specific type of shit way later in it, you know, in my, you know, like, really, frankly, like, a couple years ago, honestly. Like, I never really got super gung-ho about, you know, labor and stuff up until, like, back, I really think 2020. When it really started clicking, being like, oh, wait a minute, yeah, there is this idea. Oh, shit, like, oh, fuck, there's a lot of history behind it. Oh, damn. You know, it's like, oh, there is something to this. You know, and starting to realize that type of shit, but because it was never, like, taught. I mean, even then, I at least got, like, a vague tangential idea about it. Just mainly because, you know, it's, like, you know, it's at least something that you kind of have to teach in history to an extent, but, like, it's very specifically, like, you know, taught, you know, to where you never really get, like, a true, like, critical thinking of, like, yeah, things are actually, you know, kind of, like, looking like this, and, oh, yeah, here's how people addressed it during that time. So I think it's like a People History, like, by Howard Zinn, you know, or, you know, really good books, you know, look into and shit. Or just, like, you know, the different, you know, writings that, you know, people in the U.S. have wrote. You know, just, you know, that are never really as mentioned, like, you know, Lucy Parsons. I mean, she's never, like, you know, someone who's written, like, outright books, but she's written different little essays and stuff that are, you know, codified into, like, little books that you can find. There's all sorts of different stuff out there, honestly. Which, you know, at the end of the day, shows that this country can be great. There's been plenty of very great people and very cool fucking things that have happened here. I mean, there's like another, like another great person, that, was like basically born and raised here in the U.S., Betsy Collins. She was basically known as like Queen Bess, or Big Bess, basically because she was, like the first indigenous and African American woman to be a pilot in the U.S. And it's kind of been known as like a trailblazer when it comes to piloting, and when it comes to like aerobatics, flighting and shit like that. When it comes to like doing stunts and stuff, and also being like a civil rights activist at the time in the early days. Like, she was, like a pioneer for her time. And, she never really gets mentioned that much. Though she's fucking based. Like, she was trying to be a pilot in the U.S., literally was, due to segregation and racist policies, just could not get a license anywhere. So she literally, like, found a way to, like, falsify like a passport and get away with it and go to France, go to a flight school there and get the international pilot's license, come back to the US where it's, where that is a valid license and they have to recognize it in the US, as her as a pilot, and thus be able to get away with flying in the US essentially, and thus, kind of help be a pinnacle activist towards civil rights for not just women, but also African American women to become pilots and to do the same shit that she was doing. And kind of helped, be a major activist, to desegregation as well. Especially in the South. Like, she's like a fucking, like, badass, honestly. Like, Betsy Collins, there's a reason why they called her Queen Bess. I mean, because she was legit kind of a queen. She, like, did not give a fuck. Though sadly, she died young. Like, it was really due to, like, some just misfoible shit. Like, it was, if I remember correctly, it was like a routine, like, flight, with one of her mechanics. And, like, there was a malfunction on the aircraft, and, like, in an attempt to, like, grab one of the wrenches, to kind of, deal with the situation, the plane literally flipped over, and because there was no, like, secured, like, fastening, she literally just, bloop, just fucking fell out. She just, like, fell, essentially, and obviously the plane being malfunctioned and shit was not working, and, and the mechanic also fell out, and, like, and just ended up being a very tragic accident, and just horrible, just death, frankly. It was just like, fuck, dude. That's what, I mean, and that's why, obviously, you have, like, safety harnesses and shit. It's, like, one major thing I think they, like, most aircraft eventually became standard with, at least especially open canopy aircraft after that incident, from my understanding. Even though I think in World War I they literally were using that for their fighter pilots there and shit, so it's like, why wouldn't they fucking have the you would think, but or maybe it's because they weren't fastened properly. I mean, that might have been it. But either way, I mean, she fell out of it, which sucks. Not even gonna lie though, she was actually pretty cute too. Like, I mean, I'm just gonna be honest, I mean, she was. And she just looked like somebody who was, like, legit, somebody who's just, like, looked like a very, like, soft-hearted, like, sweet person. Like, there's pictures of her, especially, like, in her, like, pilot getup with her aircraft and shit. And, I mean, she just always, has, like, this, like, smile of, like, looking like she just is, like, a very soft-spoken kind of, like, sweet person and shit. And it's like, oh my god, I just want to, like, hang out with you all day. It's like, what the fuck? Probably because some people it's more expendable. Yeah. She did buy a used aircraft. I mean, here, let me see what plane that she used. Because she had, like, a, like a main plane that she, flew for the most part. I think it was the F-2B, if I remember correctly. Oh, and it wasn't Betsy Collins, it was Betsy Coleman. Oh, but here's a picture of her. See what I mean, though? Look at her. She looks so, like, soft-hearted and so sweet. There's her for plane. Yeah, I think that's an F-2B, if I remember. Here, where's the, Yeah, here we go. Let's go to Wiki. First African American and Native American woman to hold a pilot license. Yep. And the first black person to earn an international pilot's license. Look at her. She looks so cute with that little pilot cap on, dude. It's awesome. Born to a family of sharecroppers, Coleman worked in the fields at a young age while studying in a small segregated school. She attended one term of college at Langston University. Coleman developed an early interest in flying, but African Americans, Native Americans, and women had no flight training opportunities in the United States. So she saved and obtained sponsorships in Chicago to go to France for flight school. Okay, so that's where I was wrong. She got sponsorships to go. And then she became a high-profile pilot in notoriously dangerous air shows in the United States. She was popularly known as Queen Bess and Brave Bessie, and hoped to start a school for African-American flyers. Coleman died in a plane crash in 1926. So, it's the Curtiss JN4. So that's the aircraft that she used. Which I think there is a better picture of that. She learned to fly in a Newport 564, which is this. This is like a World War I aircraft. They use these, as combat planes. Actually, this is actually the French Air Force. This is the French Air Squadron. I think Squadron 103. Yeah, here's another picture of one. Oop. Oh my god, what the fuck? Here. Here, where's the show the JN4? She learned to fly, with a steering system that consisted of a vertical stick of the thickness of a baseball bat in front of a pilot and a rudder bar under the pilot's feet. It's interesting. Coleman quickly realized in order to make a living as a civilian aviator, she would have to become a barnstormer, stunt flyer, perform dangerous tricks in the air with then still a novel tech of airplanes for paying audiences. But to succeed in this highly competitive arena, she would need to advance lessons and learn more extensive. Return to Chicago, Coleman could not find anyone willing to teach her, so in February 1922, she sailed again for Europe. Spent another 2 months in France, competing in advanced courses in aviation. Then she left for the Netherlands to meet with Anthony Fokker, one of the world's most distinguished aircraft designers. Dude, she met Anthony Fokker himself. She also traveled to Germany, where she visited the Fokker Corporation and received additional training from one of the company's chief pilots. Yo, that's fucking dope, man. I didn't even know that part. Oh, here we go. Here's the JN Jenny aircraft. Hey, look at that. Look at that little bad boy. Look at that little sucker. But, yeah. Oh, here's the, she recently purchased a Jenny JN4, which we just looked at. Her mechanic and publicity agent, William Wills, flew the plane from Dallas in preparation for an air show and had to make 3 forced landings along the way because the plane had been poorly maintained. Upon learning this, Coleman's friends and family did not consider aircraft safe and implored her not to fly it, but she refused on take. Well, that's okay. There was already problems with this ahead of time. On takeoff, Wills was flying the plane when Coleman in the RC. She was planning a parachute jump for the next day and wanted to examine the terrain and see for the cockpit. About 10 minutes into flight, the plane unexpectedly went into a dive and then a spin at 3,000 feet above the ground. Coleman was thrown from the plane at 2,000 feet and was killed instantly when she hit the ground. Wills was unable to regain control of the plane and plummeted to the ground. He died upon impact. The plane exploded, bursting into flames. Ugh, dude, man, that's just fucked up, man. Sad. The wreckage of the plane was badly burned. It was later discovered that a wrench used to service the engine had jammed the controls. And she was only 34 at the time. Funeral service held in Florida before her body was sent back to Chicago. While there was still little mention in most media, the news of her death was widely carried in the African-American press. 10,000 mourners attended her ceremonies in Chicago, which were led by the activist Ida Wells. It's just like, damn, dude. Actually, here, let's take a look at that. This is in Chicago, so honestly, like, one of these days I'd love to visit Chicago, so maybe one of these days, if I can find out where the cemetery is, maybe I might, you know, take a little chance to visit it. Looks like that might have been more recent, you know, because everything else kind of looks a little faded. Yo, whoever owns this, like, fucking cemetery, take care of this. Fucking, you know, make it more vibrant, dicks. Can't just put, like, a little seal of her on there and just think it's like, it's refurbished now. It's like, refurbish it proper, you dicks. Boo. But yeah, I was right about the wrench part. Like, but I guess I got a little, some of the parts of the story a little, slightly botched. But overall, I mean, it's still pretty much, you know, the same result. She literally just, like, flew out of a plane and fucking straight fell to her fucking death. And the mechanic and the other and the actual pilot at the time was trying to recover and regain control, but just never could. And she was gonna want to do a parachute jump the next day, and that's just like even the extra fuck thing. It's just like, damn, like she was expected to do like a jump the next day, so to speak. Like, and it's like, and that's what happened. Like, she really should have listened to, you know, to her friends and family. Honestly, like, yo, don't go in that thing, or at least, like, you know, have a parachute or something. Like, shit. But she had that, like, kind of fuck you gumption, though. I mean, I think that kind of, you know, ended up, you know, being her demise in that case, where she's like, nah, I'm good, fuck you. It's like, I'm gonna, you know, go out there and fucking fly that thing, damn it. You ain't gonna tell me no. Because, I mean, she's grown up always having, like, people be like, no, you know, you're not just a woman, but also black, too, you know, so, no. So, it's like, yeah, I mean, of course she's gonna have, like, this gumption of, like, you ain't gonna tell me what to do. But, honestly, the one time she probably should have listened. Just the one time. Or at least have a parachute with you. Especially if she was planning on doing a parachute jump, you know, for her, like, stunts the next day or, like, for her next air show after that. Could have been a good time to practice, I guess. But, damn, you know, it's like... I mean, she basically kind of went out, like, in the, you know, quick, fiery spark that she was. I mean, but I think that, honestly, in a way, kind of, like, makes her more of, like, you know, the heroic story that it is. You know, in a sense. Because she was just that much of a courageous, like fuck you, I'm gonna do it type of person. I mean, you know, still her death, as much as a tragedy as it is, you know, just, I think, shows, like, that fiery spunk about her. I think that's, at least for her case, is at least respectable. Because at the end of the day, she broke fucking boundaries. Like, she was somebody who was, like, a pioneer for her time, so... I mean, you know, it's, at the end of the day, I mean, like, it's something that I don't begrudge her on. It's just sad tragedy at the end of the day. I can only imagine, like, you know, her being around during, like, civil rights movement and shit and stuff like that. Imagine if she was, like, a fucking, like, fighter pilot or something. Like, you know, like, in World War II. Like, considering her gumption, she probably would do that. She'd be like, fuck you, make me a pilot, damn it. So, like, make me, you know, fucking pilot in Europe, you asshole. Like, she would probably have that gumption. Like, she'd probably, like, join the Tuskegee Airmen or something, or help pioneer that early on, or something. Like, dude, she probably would have that gumption a little bit if she was alive a little longer. Or at least maybe be, like, a commander, or, like, a, you know, like, a trainer, or something like that. Be a leader of, like, the, like, women's Air Corps and shit. I mean, honestly, the biggest tragedy is that she could have done so much more, considering what was coming up, you know, not that much farther ahead in her lifetime. Because, I mean, she was 34, right? Like, when was the year she died? 1926, and she was 34, so if it was like the 40s, she would have been in her 50s, so yeah, she probably would have still, like, you know, maybe not been, like, on the front lines or whatever the fuck, but she probably would have been, like, you know, at home training pilots and shit. 1926, and it was 34. So, fast forward that to at least 36, should be 44, so, yeah, she'd be, like, in her late 40s, early 50s about. Yeah, oh, yeah, honestly, she would. I can see it. You make so much noise, bro. What the hell? Bleh. You scrunched up further in a little ball. Wow. You're such a goof. What is this? I just went on YouTube's homepage for just 1 second, and this is like one of the first things I see. New Zealand's government is encouraging teens who have recently experienced heartbreak to own the feels as a part of a $4 billion campaign aimed at helping young people overcome the pain of their breakups. Just own the feels. Just own that shit. It's just like, what? How in the fuck does that help anybody? Just own that shit. Like, what? It's just like, what the fuck? I mean, I'm sure there's more to it. Yeah, can I read it? Or is it one of those, like, fucking fucking gate block things where it's like, you have to pay for it? Programs believed to be first kind global. Okay, well, what? Okay, well, New Zealand's government, blah, 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 blah. To own the fields is a part. Okay, I get that part. Love Better program is launched on March 22nd by the Ministry of Social Development. Okay. One facet of the campaign is a text, phone, and email hotline dedicated to young people going through a breakup. Okay, that's good. I mean, I'm okay with that. The hotline is run by Youthline, a teen crisis support center. Okay, I mean, I'm not against that. All right, all right, this, okay. The nuance of this sounds okay so far. But okay, man, all right, it was clickbaited. It was clickbait. It's like, oh, just own the. It was like it clickbaits you some like, oh, we're gonna pull yourself by the bootstraps, but it's actually something that's legitimately like somewhat cohesive. I mean, I feel like it needs to maybe be a little bit more. Hold on, maybe there is more here. Also released a promotional thing in which young people candidly talk about how they have dealt with their breakups. Video states that breakups suck and that the Love Better campaign is a community of the freshly broken up, helping the freshly broken up to keep a little hurt from becoming a lot of hurt. Well, I guess, I mean, I get it, but it sounds vague. But I guess I get what they're going with here. So I guess they're basically just saying, like, you know, there's like a major investment to like a nonprofit campaign that the government's, you know, working with to help with, like, you know, teen loneliness and stuff like that. Which, I see what's going on here. It's actually a good thing. I thought it was like, oh, just own the fields and like, well, like, you know, have like programs that just tell you to like figure it out. But no, it's actually something good. So, yeah, okay, you know, New Zealand's actually doing some good shit, and that's nice. Good. New Zealand's doing something that America probably wouldn't ever do in, like, a few decades. Because, man, see, at least they understand some elements about mental health care awareness. At least in this case, it's with, you know, breakups and shit like that. Because that's, you know, obviously a good thing. So, I mean, see, like, I feel like that's, you know, one of the better, healthier, you know, ways to address, like, you know, just loneliness and shit. You know, that's, like, an actual, like, you know, proper way to address things like that. Like, because there's never really, like, a strong, nuanced, cohesive way to address the issue, but, I mean, the least that can be done is, at least, try to directly have, like, services that, I guess what, the article's saying, have, like, little hurt be prevented, and, prevented from being a lot of hurt, so, like, and honestly, that's a start. That's, at least that is legit progress in the right direction to have, like, a strong, program that's heavily invested, and collaborated with the government, to, push for something like that. So it's good. It really is a good, traction, that New Zealand is doing. So, based in New Zealand, I wish I lived there. Like, cause, like, it just seems like things would just be so much fucking better if we were adopting some of their ideas. Why is New Zealand based? Like, I mean, I know Europe gets a lot of credit for, like, some of the good shit they do, especially France right now, considering how they're protesting and stuff, but, like, New Zealand is, like, legit, unironically pretty based. Like, I still got problems, personally. I got, like, little nitpicks and critiques, but I don't, whatever, who cares? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, they at least give a shit about their people. Like, they at least, like, seem to have, like, understanding and cohesiveness about, like, making sure people are at least chill and happy and not, having to suffer with bullshit, that, makes them feel sad and lonely and, fucking scrapping for survival. It seems like they got, better gumption about dealing with things like that. Just a little bit. Plus, honestly, there's some pretty badass, like, metal music that comes out of fucking New Zealand. Like, Alien Weaponry is a really badass band that comes out of New Zealand. And they're younger than me. And they sound awesome. Like, I mean, they're pretty much, like, just, like, fresh out of high school, like, fucking kids, that basically are just, like, blasting metal around the world, and it's just, like, damn. Amazing. That's what I want to see in the youth. But anyway, I think I'll probably call it good for the little bit of the evening, then be back around for the next one, of course. So, cash this last bowl out and bid myself adieu. Anyway, peace out. I'll see y'all in that next one, so.